Hi, and welcome to the NLP UK Training podcast. I'm Callie Fraser.
And I'm Steve Kay.
And today we're going to talk about something called cargo culture.
That's cargo.
Cargo
Culture. Yeah. Well, I first heard this story from James Smart, 3Ps trainer, who I've done some training with. And basically, in the South Pacific during the Second World War, the Americans and Australians and the Allies built bases in the South Pacific on islands where the indigenous people were quite kind of like new to technology. They'd never seen it before. And these planes flew in with all this cargo of stuff that they found really valuable, like clothing and food and cakes and stuff that was so new and so exciting that they loved it, and they kind of loved the Americans being there. And in 1946, the Second World War finished in that area, and the Americans and Australians left the bases and took everything with them. But sometimes the population would try and get them to come back. So you could see photographs of them creating out of bamboo a radar screen, and also having headphones that were made of wood and rope on their heads. And they'd be walking around waving paddles like they'd seen the American crew on the base use to attract the airplanes to come back. And so it looks real, but it wasn't real. It didn't function. It looked like it was the real thing to them. And they thought if they built it like that, then people would come and they'd get the cargo back. But of course, it didn't work. And the analogy is sometimes we have people on the NLP programs with us, and they're starting off their own coaching businesses. And they think the first thing they have to do is have a website, and then they have to have a social media presence, and they have to do this and they have to do that. Why do you think they have to do that? Because so-and-so says you've got to do that. So-and-so on social media is doing this, and they do this on Insta and they do that on Insta. Well, how do you know that they've got a successful business? Well, because they're showing what they're doing, and they've got this media presence. And as Paul McGee said, the grass on the other side always looks greener, but it's probably been fed by someone else's bull. So what we're saying is that some people may look like they're doing great, but it's almost like cargo culture. You're only seeing what they're presenting to you. Whereas the people who've done a proper coaching course with Barefoot Coaching, or with, the Clarity Academy, or NLP programs with coaching and Master Practitioner coaching, then you've built the proper foundations to move ahead. You've not just built a cargo culture, which is why it's important, because then when you've done your training and you know how to coach, and you can get rid of limiting beliefs and get rid of imposter syndrome for people, then you've got a product that's really worth something, not just looks good.
And ultimately, it's about getting your first customer. You don't have a business until you've got that first paying customer. So you can have the most beautiful website. You can be hitting social media every single day, doing lives, putting great content on, and spending a lot of energy doing that. But until you've got that first customer, you don't have a business. So, I think this goes back to what we were saying in some of our earlier podcasts. It's about talking to people.
It's about your identity, like you said last time.
Absolutely. It's about charging, even if it's a small amount, 20 quid for your first coaching session. It doesn't matter. That will change your neurology. Getting that first customer. And actually, your first customer, if you do a really great job with them, they'll shout from the rooftops about you. And then who knows who they'll tell, who they'll recommend you to. Some of your first clients in business came from great recommendations. A lot of my coachees come from recommendations, where my clients will go out and tell other people, oh my God, I've got this great coach. You should give her a call. So get out there, get coaching, do the work.
And get properly qualified as well, and
Yeah.
get qualified with something that will really help you be the best. Can I talk to you about, last time we talked about identity and it flowing from within. And I think, we'll probably talk about your ideal client to have and attracting the clients you want. I heard an American speaker a few years ago, and he said selling was all about collecting no's. And it's not. It's not about collecting no's. What's the point of collecting no's from people who you don't want to work with and don't want to work with you? What you've got to do is build the right foundations, do the training, become competent, practice, change your identity. So I am a coach, I am a trainer, I'm a speaker, this is what I do. Get used to charging for it. Then you've built some really, really good foundations. You're not just creating a cargo culture. You've got some substance underneath that, and that will never leave. That will never fade. You'll always have that as that foundation.
Absolutely. One of my favorite quotes is from Warren Buffett, the famous American investor, one of the richest men in the entire world. And he was asked, I think this was back around about the 2008 crash, what people should invest in during a recession. And he said, the only thing that you should invest in during a recession is yourself.
Yeah.
Because when you invest in yourself, that is completely inflation proof. It's recession proof.
Yeah.
It never goes away. You can only build on that.
Yeah.
So, giving yourself that investment in yourself to be better, absolutely worthwhile.
Funnily enough, Kirsty Allsop off location said that you should invest in your home of around 2% on average of the value each year. So, every 10 years you might get a new kitchen, you might get a new bathroom every 10 years. But even out, it's like 2% of the value of your house. And why not do that for yourself? I mean, I know I invested in a training course fairly recently, and already it's paid itself back by about 3 or 4-fold. And I only finished the training course in the summer, and it's already brought in revenue for us to do something. So that investment, and that's the first time I've invested in myself for quite a few years. But and one or two people said, "Why are you paying all that money to do this?" And because it'll help us do something that's similar, and I'll be learning from the best in the business at it.
Absolutely.
So that's why I did it. So I think from the point of view of thinking about your home, you wouldn't buy a house and then not do anything to it for 10 years. You'd be spending probably on average 2% a year. So if you think about your salary of whatever it is, maybe you should be investing 2% of your salary on average every year, or over a period of time. You'll average the 2% investment.
And you will always get a return on investment when you invest in yourself. It's one of the dead certs in life. You can't go wrong with that one. So guys, if you found this podcast useful, please do get in touch with us. We always like to talk about how we can help people. Or you can have a look on our website, and that is NLPUKtraining.com. And Steve and I will see you next time.
Bye for now.